got a chance to see Challengers with Zendaya. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me as we talk about movies, television shows, and comic books. And on top of that, I am your host, Frank Zanka. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer. So I do look at films with a little different lens. I look at it from a filmmaking lens. And, we talk about the financial end as well. But before we get into it, remember to give me a like and a subscribe. I am trying to grow the channel out. I'm also a working line producer for film. And I am going to be leaving on the 1st of May, which is next week. And so I won't be posting much as far as reviews. I think we'll work at 6 days for the next 3 weeks. So I won't be really uploading much for the next month. And then I may be jumping from there all the way to Vermont for a series. So we'll see. I may be gone for a couple of months. But then again, I haven't worked in so long because of the strikes. And we have another strike coming up. So let's try to get as much as possible. But if you are a fan of classic monsters or card games, me and Mark Spears, who does cover art for Marvel and DC and the other comic book companies, has a classic monsters set of art that we are now developing into a card game. We're going to be launching that in the next few weeks. So you can check out the link below. So that my sample actually came in, and we'll talk about this at the end. But if you want to check it out, the link is in the description below. All right, so let's jump into Challengers. I really had no idea what I was running into when I saw this film. I think Zendaya is good. I don't think she's great. I think she's good. And, it was an interesting... I like to see independent films. I know this is pretty much an independent film. In fact, she produced it as well. The producers really did not do their jobs here as far as the financials are concerned. It is doing well on, Rotten Tomatoes. It does have a pretty high score as far as the reviewers are concerned. The general audience doesn't really have anything in there yet. I can tell you that the three main characters do have a lot of really good chemistry, and I think the acting is generally good. However, the price tag on this film is astronomical for what it is. I mean, whoever the line producer was on this or whatever, they didn't save a dime. I mean... there's nothing to this. I mean, it's about tennis. So, what costs money here? The only thing I can think of is that the above the line, so the cast got overpaid. And with Zendaya producing it, why did she take a big price tag? The director really hasn't done anything. He's an art house French director. His name is Luca something. Yeah, Luca Guadagnino. Guadagnino. Okay, however you say it. So he's decent, but he's an art house director. I've never seen anything that this man has done. He's got a movie on Prime called Suspiria, something like that. I'm going to go check it out. It has Chloe Grace Moretz and Mia Goth and Dakota Johnson, sorry. So I'm going to check that out, but it looks like an art house film. And, this really wasn't. This is a mainstream film, especially at a $50 million price tag. So if let's say they spent $25 million on marketing, right? So you're up to $75 million times 2, because you got to split it with the distributor and the theaters. So you're looking at $150 million you have to get on Zendaya's name alone. Because that's the only thing this thing has going for it is Zendaya's name. Is she that hot? I would argue that Sydney Sweeney is a bigger name than Zendaya is, but or at least equal. And her movie, barely did $20 million. So what's this going to do? I mean, the opening day here, there was barely anybody in the theater. It's in IMAX, no less. You know, they may get 50 million all in. You know, maybe 60 by the time they close up shop. And if that happens, they're going to be losing, like 70, 80 million dollars. It's crazy. So we'll see. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but financially, that's what I see happening. So let's talk about the film itself because, again, I had no idea what I was walking into, and there were some directorial. The writer wrote a thing called Queer, so I really shouldn't have been surprised after looking back at it. But again, I walked in there not knowing what I was jumping into here. I knew there was some kind of a love triangle. It's told very well, but overtold. I think it's actually, if it was scaled down, it would have been better because so it starts out with you not knowing anything, and it starts out with showing both of the male characters, one kind of down and out, and the other one very rich and famous, and they're both tennis players, right? And they constantly show the scar, which is also in the trailer, on Zendaya's character, Tashi, on her knee. So you got Tashi, you got Art, and you got Patrick. Those are the three. And Tashi, of course, is Zendaya's character, and then the Art's character, he's from, he played one of the Jets, the main Jet guy in West Side Story. And then the other guy named Patrick, he played Prince Charles in The Crown. So he played Diana's son, I believe. And so you have these really decent actors, and again, I don't know how much time they spent together before the filming, but you can tell that they gelled. They knew what was going on. I don't know how Tom Holland felt with the amount of intimacy that Zendaya had to do here. But there's a lot of heavy petting and kissing here and, putting hand down pants and stuff to that effect. So I hope that he wasn't on set for any of that stuff. But they took it too far, I think. So here's my positives to it is that the acting was good, and that the character development was good, and the makeup was really good because they had to play two different versions of themselves. They had to play themselves from 13 years ago all the way up to today. So we start out at today, 2019, with them having both of them have a lot at stake, having a contest against one another. The down and out guy needs the money, and the other guy needs the courage to keep going on because he keeps losing even though he's extremely wealthy. And then so that's the two conflicts there. And then Zendaya's, Tashi's character is that it's love and lust. So she lusts after one, loves the other guy, but if they're not involved in tennis, because she hurt herself, she was actually going to be a tennis pro. She had her own line of, Adidas going on and stuff like that. So she was raring to go and be very famous, and then she hurt herself, and that ended all that. So she was living vicariously through these guys. And whoever took it more seriously was the one she was going after. And but again, there was love and there was lust. In fact, they even say it. So you're fire and ice, because they had known each other forever, and they had totally different personalities. But I can tell you that there's definitely way more male nudity in here than female nudity. So if you're a guy that's like, look, I don't need to see any of that. then you might want to stay away from it because it is in there. If you also want to say, I don't need to see two guys kissing, you don't need to be in there either because there is that too. And you know what? I don't know why. I'm sitting there watching it going, there's absolutely no reason for this scene. Just the fact that they're really good friends and they grew up together is enough. You did not need to go there. But they went there anyway. Chances are it was a script thing that the director took it, ran with it. I would have deleted it. It changed the characters too much, I think, to the point where you're questioning their motives all the way through. It shouldn't have been that way. So anyway, the characters are well done, but we're seeing them in constant flashbacks. So as you're getting into the story, all of a sudden it's 13 years ago, and I'm like, you're jarred, like, whoa, what just happened? And then you're 13 years ago, and then then they flash forward again. You're going forward again. Oh, it's 10 years. And they're going forward again, and then it's 5 years, and then so it's constantly telling us this story and then going backwards, and then it's 2 hours and 11 minutes. It's way too long for what it is, and I can tell you that a majority of this money also went into extras. There's just a ton of extras all the way through this because really the core cast is only those three people. Everybody else is just like day players here and there, and again, none of that was really needed. I think you could have done this. I think you could have scaled this down, and it still would have been just the same story. So I would have made some changes here. And of course, when it comes to the makeup, since they're playing two different people, like Zendaya's hair is like down to here when she's younger, and they cut it all up to here to make her look older. And in her older, I mean, she's only 27 years old. They couldn't make her look that old, man. Sorry. I mean, you cannot make Zendaya look that old. And in the movie, she's got a 6-year-old child, maybe 5. So what did she have her kid at 20? That didn't work for me. Trying to, up her age that much. She didn't. She tried to play it, and she did a good job doing what she could to play herself older. But, she had to play herself at like 35 when she's 27. It just didn't work. Because I kept in the back of my head, I'm like, really? You have a child that young? It just didn't work. And the guys, they did a good job with, having their hair a little bit more fuller and stuff like that when they were younger. And then when they were older, there was more straggle on the face and stuff like that, for Patrick. And the hair was more matted down and styled for art. But again, I thought that the at the end, you have no idea what's going to happen. You really have no idea what's going to happen, and I like that. And also, I do have to hand it to the writer for, because I'm a big proponent of if you set it up, pay it off. And every single thing that was set up was paid off. So right down to there was a thing with the racket and the ball. And I thought that was very clever at the end, very clever. So when you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But again, you have no idea what's going to happen, what choices that the characters are going to make, and Zendaya, her character, her conflict is more internal than external. So she's more fighting with herself, where the other two are fighting against each other. And it's interesting. It's an interesting juxtaposition, and I like the character development. It's a movie I'm going to see again. Probably not. I probably will never see this movie again. But again, pushing the guys to kiss each other, that kind of turned me off. You can call me, homophobic or whatever you want to call me, but these characters were not set up to be homosexual. They just were kind of pushed. For some reason, it just didn't feel right for those characters. Yeah, if you have a gay character, sure, and they have a husband or a male lover, makes total sense. But that's not who these guys were, and that's why it didn't make any sense. So, you know, when you see it, when you know I'm talking about it, it just for these characters, it just didn't feel right. And again, it made no difference to them for the rest of the film because it never happened again. Neither one of them turned gay, so it was just like, why? You know, there was no payoff for any of that, and that's not what this movie was about. This movie was about a love triangle, not about, you know, them being bisexual. I'm kind of torn because the movie was too long. The movie kind of went off the rails at times in these flashbacks that were too long, not needed, etc. It could have been cut back at least 20 something minutes, and it could have told the same story. And on top of that, the scale of it could have been scaled down completely. And I mean, it takes place in a hotel for a lot of it. It's like, where did this money go? I just have no clue unless everybody just pocketed this stuff. And, you know, I know they had to fill up an entire stadium of people, but there's other ways around that, you know? So, you know, you could just CGI the people and it wouldn't make a difference, you know? And a lot of it takes place in, and then on top of that, they must have gotten a lot of money back because they had both Pepsi and Coke in this thing. How they got both of them, I don't know. But it's like in one scene, he's like has the Coke bottle up to his lip where it's just like hanging there, and the label is like in your face. And then they have a Pepsi bottle that they won like a glass trophy, and he literally has, it's like a cup, like a Stanley Cup looking thing, but it's glass. And he's got the Pepsi thing in there, so you can see the Pepsi through the thing. And then when they go into the actual tennis court, the whole rear wall has like Chase and stuff like that. Then the guy's wearing a tennis academy shirt. And the logo is like, they just hold on it where you can see the logo on his shirt. So they had a ton of product placement, and maybe that's what is going to lower this down, but I doubt it's lowered it that much. I mean, I don't know how much product placement you have. You might get $5 million out of it with Zendaya's name, maybe $7 million. It doesn't really affect it that much, even with all those big names. So, all big names of corporations, the big names of not enough actors. Because she is the only name. So, and it's funny too, when I looked up all the pictures that I could find, there was like barely any screenshots. It's all behind the scenes stuff of the actors. And you'll see them pop up over here, you know. And so all the stuff that you're seeing is mostly Zendaya posing on the red carpets and stuff like that. That's really all this film has, because what's a screenshot of people on a tennis court? Nothing big. So yeah, so I'm kind of torn. I did like the movie. I thought the actors did a good job. I did like the character development. I liked the fact that the end was unpredictable. But at the same token, it was too long. And like I mentioned, there's problems throughout. And again, when it comes to the financial side, I don't know how they're going to make their money back. So I'm going to give this probably my normal like 6.5, maybe 7. Because again, it's not a film I'm going to see again. But yeah, I like to know how Tom Holland felt about all those intimate scenes. She didn't get naked, but just about. Just about. All right, so anyway, that's it for me. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I appreciate it, watching all the way through. Remember to give me that like and that subscribe. Click that thumbs up button, and also click the bell icon to be notified when I put up other videos. I do comic book reviews continuously as well. So if you want to know what Marvel and DC are doing and if they're going to be able to go to the big screen with them, with the new stories that are being released, that's kind of what I go into. Also, if remember that Mark Spears and I are doing our Myth Lords card game. If you want to get in on that, again, the description is in the the link is in the description below. You can sign up to get notified for when we launch. There is extra content if you get with within the first 36 hours of launch, so definitely be notified when that happens. And I've been play testing it quite a bit, and I think it's lots of fun. And then the cards came out real nice, and the artwork's great. All right, so check out some other videos as well, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks again for watching, guys.